Hello viewers, warm welcome to this video of web-based econ. Today's topic is Communication English. Module 1 under Communication English courses for Diploma Polytechnic students. This is in continuation of a lecture series started by me earlier where I talked about what is communication, process of communication and other important elements. Now I will be focusing on types of communications. Basically, communication is categorized broadly under four streams: communication based on the means of delivering the message, communication based on the purpose of communication, and communication based on the levels of communication, and it is based on the pattern of communication. So, let us find out what is communication based on the means of delivering the message. Communication based on the means of delivering the message, it is of two types: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication is a combination of several words spoken or written, each conveying a specific meaning, which is further subdivided into four major types: spoken communication, written communication, telecommunication and electronic communication. Next, non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication occurs without words, where the five senses and whole range of body movements, posture, gesture, facial expression and silence are used for sending and receiving the message. Non-verbal communication may be accomplished by the following means: touch, eye contact, facial expression, posture, body movements, gait, gesture, physical appearance, sound and silence. Whereas gesture is the use of your limbs in order to express yourself, and posture is how you maintain your body. So, communication based on the purpose of communication, it is basically of three types: formal communication, informal communication and therapeutic communication. Formal communication. Formal communication follows line of authority and is generally used in organization to achieve organizational objectives. Informal communication. Informal communication does not follow line of authority. It is very fast and usually takes place in social groups like friends, family, peer groups, etc. Therapeutic communication. Therapeutic communication takes place between a healthcare personnel and a patient with the purpose of modifying the patient's behavior. Now come down to communication based on the level of communication. So based on the levels of communication, communication can be divided into six major streams: intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, transpersonal communication, small group communication, public communication and organizational communication. Intrapersonal communication. It takes place within an individual. We may also say it a self-talk. When a person is emotionally struck, or a person who is philosopher, sometimes he ponder over some thought, can be termed as intrapersonal communication. Interpersonal communication. It takes place whenever two or more people interact and exchange messages or ideas, one of the most common forms of communication in our daily lives. Transpersonal communication. It takes place within a person's spiritual domain to realize selfhood. Small group communication. Patient care conferences. Nurse interact with two or more individuals face to face or use a medium like a conference call. Staff meetings and reports are good examples of small group communication. Public communication. communication with a large group of people is known as public communication. Organizational communication. It takes place when individuals and groups within an organization communicate with each other to achieve established organizational goals. And last but not the least, communication based on the pattern of communication. So based on the pattern of communication, communication can be divided into 6 major types: one-way communication, two-way communication, one-to-one communication, one-to-many communication, many-to-one communication, and many-to-many communication. One-way communication. It takes place when messages are delivered to the audience from the communicator only without constant feedback. Means when you watch a film on TV or a traditional classroom lecture where there is limited scope of feedback, it is basically one-way communication. Two-way communication. It takes place when both the communicator and audience take part in the process, like a telephonic conversation or a question answer session at the end of presentation. One-to-one communication. One-to-one communication happens between one sender and one recipient at one time. One-to-many communication. Communication between one sender and many recipients at one time, like telling a story to the kids. Many-to-one communication. Many-to-one communication takes place when several people communicate with one person at the same time, like panel of experts taking an interview is an example of many-to-one communication. Now, many-to-many communication. It is characterized by multiple users contributing and receiving information in large-scale, interlinked, synchronous and asynchronous contact like internet. So far we have learned communication and its various types, and in our next videos you will be learning other details related to communication English. Thank you for patient listening.